dito sa Cool FM, ang koolNews Primetime kasama ang yours truly, Stephen and Wanag del Sol at this hour. After this, syempre, vibe sa Cool FM. Mapapakinggan natin dito yan sa ating simulcast. So, this is Stephen and Wanag del Sol wishing guys good night and God bless the Republic of the Philippines. News is next. Mula sa TG1 Cool Studios, nariyong napakinggan ang The Medyo Late Night Show with Uncle Pepito. Isang original na produksyon ng TG1 Entertainment at ng Able Media Studios. Pilipinas, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This is koolNews Primetime. I'm Stephen Wanag del Sol, your uncle in the service for everything. In all the stories that matter and care for every Filipino. We started off with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. He urged the Congress to swiftly enact the proposed 6.793 trillion national budget for 2026. In the president's budget message on Wednesday, Marcos said the government is on track with its agenda for prosperity and is ready to become a leader among nations, particularly in the Asia-Pacific region. However, while we have recovered from the pandemic, we recognize that there is still much to rebuild and there is still much that can be achieved, the message read. The president emphasized that the government must focus on its collective responsibility to ensure a brighter future for all the Filipinos. Marcos said, hence, I urge the honorable members of the Congress to swiftly enact this budget. Let us work together to realize the full potential of our nation, nurture future-ready generations, and fulfill our dream of a bagong Pilipinas. Earlier in the day, the House of Representatives received the National Expenditure Program for 2026 from the Department of Budget and Management. The lion's share of the proposed budget is allocated to education with 928.5 billion, followed by public works at 881.3 billion and health at 320.5 billion pesos. In the other news, the proposed budget for 2026 will see a lower allocation for confidential and intelligence funds as the country's budget managers seek to allot these funds normally reserved for national security purposes only to the appropriate agencies. In a press conference, Budget Secretary Amena Pangadaman said the Department of Budget and Management proposed 10.7 billion pesos in total CIF allocations, or 11% lower than last year's 12.1 billion pesos in the 2026 National Expenditure Program. The NEP serves as the basis for a general appropriations bill which will be enacted into law by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. later this year. A breakdown of the proposed CIF shows that Office of the President will be receiving a lion's share. I think that's mentioned earlier. So, on the other hand, we have a Chinese fighter jet that tailed a Philippine Coast Guard aircraft during a maritime domain awareness flight over Bajo de Masinloc on Wednesday, coming dangerously close to the Philippine aircraft. The PCG's Cessna Caravan was intercepted by a People's Liberation Army Navy Air Force J-15 fighter jet above the waters off Scarborough Shoal. PCG's spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tarieta, said in a press briefing in Manila. Tarieta also reported that the PCG aircraft was deployed at 7:30 a.m. and the Chinese fighter jet tailed it for about 20 minutes. It flew to its left, right, and directly overhead, at times as close as 50 feet laterally and 200 feet vertically. Sorry, I was testing my ears. I don't know what's going on. It was not fixed at maintaining such a distance. Sometimes it transferred to the left side of the aircraft. Sometimes it went above, sometimes to the right side, he said. He added that the mere fact that the jet fighter was doing drastic maneuvering about following a safe path made it more dangerous. He emphasized that this was not the first time Chinese forces had harassed PCG aircraft during MDA flights over Bajo de Masinloc, recalling previous incidents involving a PLA Navy helicopter. However, he noted that this is the first time this year that a fighter jet has intercepted a PCG MDA flight. Tarieta added that he did not want to speculate whether the fighter jet's aggressive actions were a direct response to Monday's accidental collision between two Chinese vessels in the area. During the flight, the PCG also monitored for China Coast Guard vessels, two PLA Navy ships, 6 Chinese maritime military vessels, and 2 U.S. Navy ships near Zambales. The PCG caravan aircraft encountered 5 radio challenges from the PLAN vessel 553, while PLAN warship 568 trailed the 2 U.S. Navy vessels in the area. Earlier, China claimed it had driven away the destroyer USS Higgins from Scarborough Shoal. However, Tariela said the U.S. Navy was merely conducting operations in support of freedom of navigation operations. At 8:20 a.m. during the flight, Tariela said the PCG monitored U.S. Navy ships DDG-76 Higgins and LCS-20 Cincinnati at a distance of 102 nautical miles from Zambales, roughly 30 nautical miles from Bajo de Masinloc. Tariela said so it doesn't mean that the reason why they were not there anymore was because they were driven away by the Chinese warship. He also reiterated the Philippine government's support for FONOPS, noting that the freedom of navigation is supported by the government because this is the direct challenge to the illegal 9-line claim of China. The MDA's flight was partly conducted to track the whereabouts of the CCG vessel damaged in the earlier collision. The PCG aimed to confirm whether the ship remained in the area or had been towed elsewhere. Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon announced on Wednesday that by September, discounted beep cards for students, persons with disabilities, and senior citizens will be available at the MRT and LRT lines. Students, PWDs, and senior citizens are entitled to a 50% discount at the MRT3, LRT1, and LRT2. In an interview with reporters after the Department of Transportation inspected student lanes and ticket vending machines in LRT2 Antipolo Station, Dizon explained that the 50% discount will already be programmed into the special beep cards. Dizon noted that the beep cards for students will be renewed or reactivated every school year, meaning after 1 year it won't work anymore, so you have to come back and you have to show your student ID again for the next year so you can get another student beep card while you're still a student. Dizon likewise said that for PWDs and senior citizens, they only need to present their respective IDs to avail the special beep cards. The special beep cards for PWDs and senior citizens need not be renewed. Dizon also said that every station at the MRT3, LRT1, and LRT2 will have a dedicated window for printing the special beep cards. Meanwhile, Dizon also announced that senior citizens, PWDs, and students no longer need to fill out the forms to get a 50% discount at the MRT3, LRT1, and LRT2. So that's one appreciating thing from them. And before we go on our break, an anonymous group claiming to be employees of TVH has asked the Office of the Ombudsman to investigate Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa over an alleged 1.29 billion pesos unliquidated cash transfer to the United Nations Children's Fund for the procurement of vaccines and essential drugs. In the other news, we have Ryan Poe as he proposes House bills to address the youth crisis. And later on in the entertainment news, Ann Curtis denies. He denies making any remarks against Vice Ganda's humor and behavior after a post on social media supposedly quoting her went viral. This is koolNews Primetime as we go on a short break. Do you think soda pop just means soda and soda only? Allow to introduce our new fruit milk series. 4 fantastic flavors to choose from: mango, blueberry, green apple, and strawberry. Only for a cheap price that starts at 39 pesos. And if you want your soda go even more poppy and bittersweet, add some frill in it with soju or gin. Just add 12 pesos and enjoy the ride with soda pop. Pop the party with flavor, where every sip is a celebration. Soda pop, now with flavors of strawberry, blueberry, green apple, raspberry, and more. Starting at 39 pesos. Soda Pop, pop the party with flavor, where every sip is a celebration.
Kasama mo ang himlayang Pilipino. Laging handa baunin ang alaala ng iyong mga mahal sa buhay. Ang himlayang Pilipino ay naghahatid ng mga affordable na libingan hanggang sa mas magagarang mga mausoleo para sa mga pribadong pagdililay. Para sa mga kalagdagang impormasyon, maaari kayong tumawag o mag-text sa 0968-896-4850. Pumunta sa himlayangpilipino.org o sa aming Facebook, Himlayang Pilipino Incorporated, at Instagram, HPI Memorial Park.
Himlayang Pilipino, Himlayang Pilipino.
Gatas ni baby? Check. Sabon pangligo? Check. Pero kulang na ang rekado pang luto at pamasahe pa uwi. Borrow as low as 100 pesos. Kaya palang humiram ng tingi-tingi. Sa G-Loan Sakto. Mag G-Loan Sakto sa GCash. Subject to eligibility. Terms and conditions apply. G-Loan Sakto is powered by Fuse Financing Incorporated. Fuse Financing Incorporated is supervised by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Kindly review the terms and conditions in the disclosure statement before proceeding with the loan transaction. GCash is supervised by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. www.bsp.gov.ph. Visit the GCash website or help center to know more.
Wow! Ang putla! Sino ka? Dugo mo. Ang putla mo. Mukha ka ng multo. Baka anemic ka. You need the help of 60 milligrams of iron from Hemorrhate FA para Hemorrhate. May right dose ng iron. Recommended for Filipinos for DOHAO number 2010-0010 with proper diet and exercise. Hemorrhate FA, the blood vitamin.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Iron pyridoxine, vitamin B6, cyanocobalamin, vitamin B12, folic acid is the generic name of Hemorrhate FA. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor.
Ang Biogesic for Kids, di na kailangan ni shake. Syrup formula na. Para pag may lagnat ang anak, buhos agad, inom agad. Biogesic for Kids. Mas pinagaling, magpagaling. Versus previous formulation.
Unilab yan.
Paracetamol is the generic name of Biogesic. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor.
The best mix of music. The best mix of music. Cool FM.
Welcome back on today's koolNews Primetime. We just received some news as the fisherman killed by lightning in Lapu-Lapu. The 38-year-old fisherman was laid to rest earlier this Wednesday. We have a report from our field reporter on koolNews, Jennifer.
Yes, Stephen, I want to go. So the 38-year-old fisherman had died after fighting on August 5, 2025 in Barangay Punta Engaño, Napolaco City. Was laid to his final resting place on Wednesday, August 13, 2025. Until now, Teodolito intern's live-in partner, Teresita Kai, still cannot accept his death. I said that is still the same. I'm still having a hard time accepting it, but I will try my best to stay strong for my Despite this, Guy is thankful to those who helped her financially with her family's daily expenses. She said that some private individuals even promised to provide her with monthly financial aid. Meanwhile, the Lapu-Lapu city government shouldered the expenses for Intad's burial. Aside from this, they also received food cash from the city Social Welfare and Development Office. However, the ICE said that they have not yet received financial assistance from the city. According to Buenafe Romualdo, head of operations of CSWDO, they are still processing the financial and burial assistance for Intad's family. In addition, they will also apply for financial assistance for the women in especially difficult circumstances program. Romualdo also promised as a sole parent through which she will receive monthly financial assistance from the city. They are fast-tracking her enrollment so that she can receive the financial assistance by the fourth quarter of this year. Among Guy's request from the city government was to provide her with a livelihood job so that she can continue to meet the needs of her children. However, Romualdo said that they first need to determine what kind of livelihood they can provide. For DZYW News, I'm Jennifer, serving the stories that care for you. This is your station, this is home, this is Cool FM.
Thank you, Jennifer, for this report from Cebu City. Let's go back to the national scope as anonymous group claiming to be employees of DOH rather, asked the Office of the Ombudsman to investigate the Health Secretary Teodoro Helbosa and over an alleged 1.29 billion pesos unliquidated cash transfer to UNICEF for the procurement of vaccines and essential drugs. The letter complaint, which was received by the Office of the Ombudsman officer in charge Mariflor Punzalan Castillo on August 11, said that Herbosa must be held accountable for malversation of public funds, falsification of public documents, violations of procurement laws, and the Anti-Graft and Corruption Practices Act. The concerned DOH employees said that they anonymously filed the complaint out of concern for retaliation, but with a firm sense of duty to uphold the public trust. Citing the Commission on Audit Query number 2024-1, the group said that DOH released 1,244.64 pesos to the UNICEF from February 2024 to July 30, 2024. They added that despite the liquidated funds, Herbosa allegedly initiated a new procurement request to purchase vaccines from the UNICEF worth 524,926,193 pesos and 47 centavos. The group then noted COA Circular number 2012-001 and Department Memorandum number 2023-0369, which prohibit fund transfers if the previous ones are still unliquidated. They also said that Herbosa allowed this statutory deadline to lapse without settling the accounts. Aside from this, the group said that the cash advances to UNICEF were tagged as advances to contractors when they should have been labeled as dues from NGOs to CSOs, noting the UNICEF is not a contractor but a third-party international organization. And maybe the So again, the group claims Herbosa misclassified these transactions. He misled the auditors and showed favoritism among the bidders, resulting in delays in vaccine procurement and potential harm to public welfare. They also requested Herbosa's preventive suspension to preserve the integrity of the investigation. DOH has yet to comment on the matter, stating that they await official service. The Ombudsman. And from the House of Representatives, and I'm lagging. Representative Brian the F address the country's youth crisis by proposing several legislative measures. The main bills include the Magna Carta out of age 5 to 24 years old who are out of school. And also proposes measure address on 2020 labor force. There are more than 615,000 young workers, representing 10.2% of the total number of employed Filipinos, are underemployed and actively looking for more or better work. Let's go to this. Let's go to the sports as the Filipinas ASEAN Women's Title defense end with Myanmar draw. So what was going on there in Myanmar? So let's head on to a field report to our field reporter koolNews Carlo. Good evening.
Yes, Stephen Monaco Soul, good evening. The Philippines women's football team, also known as the Filipinas, failed to defend their ASEAN Women's Championship title after a one-on-one draw against Myanmar. An equalizing goal in the 71st minute, but the team couldn't secure a victory to advance to the semi-finals. Myanmar and Australia U3 2-3 advanced to semis, while the Philippines placed third in Group B with 4 points. In the other news, as I also received another one. As I handled the showbiz news from here in Myanmar, Anne Curtis has denied making any remorse against Vice Ganda's humor and behavior after a post on social media was supposedly quoting her went viral. The false statement that circulated online, Curtis expressed her disapproval of Vice Ganda's jokes and behavior and describing them as disrespectful. Their fabricated quote led in part, "Some jokes, Vice are really no more funny. You don't realize that you are already hurting people. Please control your jokes. Didn't you know that there are many of us already mad at you?" On Wednesday morning, August 13th, Curtis set the record straight, saying that the mild fake quote was not from her. Sister is a term of endearment that she and Vice Ganda call each other. The fake post resurfaced admitted to me this. Surface admitted to me its absence from its showtime since Monday, following backlash over his Jazz Tea holiday comedy skit with Regine Velasquez during the recent Super Divas concert. The skit parodied the controversial issues regarding the West Philippine Sea and former President Rodrigo Duterte's detention at The Hague. The lens which prompted calls to declare Vice Ganda persona grata in Davao City. Reporters. Vice President Sara Duterte admitted that she had yet to watch the satirical skit, noting that declaring Vice Ganda persona non grata in Davao would require a majority decision. Since then, Vice Ganda has not publicly addressed the controversy. From here in Myanmar, for KZYW koolNews. I'm Carlos serving the stories that care for you. This is your station. This is home. Cool FM.
Thank you, Carlo. As we run out of time, thank you guys for listening here on koolNews Edition. We return tomorrow for more koolNews. Join us later at 6 p.m. Good night and God bless the Philippines.